أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala against Shaitan and his evil ways. I greet you all in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. May peace and salutations be upon Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family, companions, and the entire Muslim Ummah. As we join the entire world in observing the International Al-Quds Day, we express our shock and our dismay at the brutality meted out at the defenseless men, women, and children in occupied Palestine. The world is very shocked at the excessive force that is used by the Israeli Zionist regime, especially in Jerusalem, where Masjid al-Aqsa is situated. Today, as we come out in our millions around the world to show solidarity with our Palestinian counterparts, it is very important to take note and not to lose sight of the continued Zionist occupation, not only in Al-Quds, but the entire land of Palestine. We also take note at the increased methods of cruelty and brutality upon the innocent Palestinians. Now, at this juncture, let me give you an example of the brutalities that are being meted out at defenseless Palestinians. And before I venture into these types of brutalities, remember or take note that every year, in the month of Ramadan, you observe that the Zionist regime goes to people or to Muslims who are engaged in their ibadah and they brutalize them to the extent of even killing some of the Muslims, praying Muslims. We have seen what has happened in Masjid al-Aqsa, where defenseless women and children are dragged away from their musalla and brutalized and thrown out of their praying places. And when this is happening, it is in the month of Ramadan, year in and year out. They do this when Muslims are fasting. This is very important to take note because it is time for us also to intensify our participation in International Al-Quds Day so that we highlight the plight of the Palestinians. Now, going into some of the methods that they use, we remember we in South Africa are the first ones to come to the rescue of the Palestinians because we know what is it to be a prisoner in your own land. We know what is it to travel almost every 50 or so kilometers, you find a roadblock where they ask you for a pass. That time we used to call it a dome pass. We know what is it to be given inferior education. We know what is it, besides being given inferior education, we know what is it for you, your schools to be demolished so that the future generation doesn't get an education. If you get an education, you are given an inferior one. We know as South Africans what we went through when we were given inferior even health facilities, if we were given at all. This is taking place currently in Palestine. We also know what is it when it comes to your farming land being taken away from you, or if you have some, you are prevented from growing what is needed most in terms of food. We know what is it when your industrial activities are disrupted deliberately so that you become economically crippled. This is currently taking place in occupied Palestine. And more sadly, we know what it is when it comes to your home. The only hope that you have to offer shelter to your beloved family. A bulldozer comes in the middle of the night and it demolishes. They tell you that you are supposed to be relocated somewhere and you are not even given an alternative. Your home is demolished and your children are left in the cold. And if your home is not demolished, electricity and water is cut off. Now, these are basic human needs, and they make sure that this Zionist regime, they do this on the defenseless Palestinians. We therefore call upon each and every peace-loving person of the world to highlight all these plight that the Palestinians are going through. We take cue from Nelson Mandela. Remember, quite some time ago, he gave very important statement when he said the issue of Palestine, remember, is not a religious issue. It's got nothing to do with being a Muslim or a Christian. It has something to do with a human being. Don't look at a Palestinian as a Muslim or as a Jew or as a Christian. Look at a Palestinian who is being oppressed by a Zionist ideology. Look at that child as a human being who needs a future. And the future is cut off from this innocent, defenseless child. And the world is looking on and is silent about it. At this juncture, we would like to say thumbs up and support to our South Africa's Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, that is Ma'am Nadia Naledi Pandor. Without mincing any words, she has shown bravery that none of us here can show. Without mincing any words, she has told Israel where to get off. Besides telling Israel of its brutalities and to stop, she has taken it further to take the United Nations head on. How many of us have got guts enough to tell the world body, particularly the United Nations Security Council, that you are being partial? Remember, the United Nations Security Council recently, they had to bend their own rules to satisfy the whims and fancies of Ukraine. You remember when Ukraine was having a problem with Russia, when the war was raging on, it was so quick for the United Nations Security Council to bend its own rules to make sure that they come to the rescue of Ukraine. They did not even feel shy to show open support for Ukraine. And yet, a case of Palestine which has been raging on for the past 70 years. The same United Nations Security Council is dead silent. And Alhamdulillah, Nadia Naledi Pandor, she had guts to say, wait, you are talking of international laws here. You are so quick to observe international laws when it comes to Ukraine. And yet, children and women are dying on a daily basis for the past decades and decades, and you are silent. And furthermore, she set an example that none of us and none of our leaders, so-called leaders in Muslim-dominated lands can do. What did she do? She encouraged the downgrading of relationships between South Africa and the brutal regime of Israel. She said, or she spearheaded the downgrading and said, look here, we do not want to have any diplomatic relationship with an apartheid state of Israel. And what did she do? She spearheaded to make sure that the embassy in Israel, South African embassy, is downgraded to a mere liaison office. Once you downgrade this state or this status quo, it means that diplomatically you've got nothing to do with that country. And she has encouraged, particularly us as Muslims, to take it a step further. That when it comes to diplomacy, she has played her part. And when it comes to economic affairs, are you as Muslims prepared to play your part? How many of us, this is the month of Ramadan, how many of us have gone to the supermarkets and purchased dates kaju that is manufactured in the state of occupied Palestine? How many of us are breaking our fast in this holy month of Ramadan with dates? Now let me tell you these dates that we are purchasing. They might be nice, sweet and juicy, but do you know how they are produced? Do Do you know that these dates that you are breaking your fast with are produced on land that is usurped, on land that is taken out or taken away from rightful owners? And besides that, if they are doing farming of dates, do you know that the labor that is used there is child labor, is cheap labor, is abused labor? Your Muslim brothers and sisters, not even men, even young girls, are used in these farms to produce the dates that you are proud of. This is just one example that we are using. Coca-Cola, that you are so proud of when you are breaking your fast. It's almost at each and every of our table to break our fast with. Do you know that a certain percentage of the money that you use to go and buy these products is used to kill an innocent 8-year-old? Do you know that the money that you use to buy these products that are produced by companies affiliated to Zionism, they are used to kill an innocent, defenseless woman in occupied Palestine? So thumbs up to Naledi to Honorable Minister Nadia, when she says play your economic part. Make sure you don't support them when it comes to buying products that are related to them. And in conclusion, we would like to understand, or to make all of us understand, that it is an obligation to partake in the liberation of the people. Because all the Nabis of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, their main mandate was to do what? To encourage us to believe in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is one, that's a given. The second most important mandate of each and every Nabi of Allah, may Allah be pleased with all of them, was to liberate people from oppression. We can use, time doesn't permit me, we can use a lot of examples of Nabi Dawood alayhi salam against Jalut, the oppressive Jalut. He made sure that he used his argument to liberate oppressed people. The most popular story, the story of Nabi Musa alayhi salam, liberating oppressed people from Fir'aun. The story of Nabi Isa alayhi salam, liberating people from the oppressive regimes that charged riba. One of the things that made the ruling class to want to put him on the cross was what? When he said stop riba, it's very oppressive. Allah does not want riba. They say this man is disturbing our economic affairs. He must be put on the cross. So all of us here, we need to follow these examples of all the Nabis of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, including Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who came to liberate girls, young girls, babies that were murdered and buried alive. An oppressive regime that is till today is being exemplified in the state of Israel. So please, all of us here, whatever method you want to use, please employ that method and make sure that in our lifetime, Palestine is liberated, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.